So last week, Google just launched Gemma 4, and I think the whole world is freaking out because these are really good models that are small enough to actually run on your phone. So I'm here on the Gemma's website, and they have like the tiny options, the 2B and 4B options to run on like mobile devices, and there's the 26 and 31B that could run on your laptop or like a desktop dedicated to run AI inference. So these are really cool models, and I wanted to like revisit this topic of self-hosting your own AI infrastructure so you can run your inference. I think this is a really good time because we have lots of really awesome models in the space. There's Qwen, and now there's Gemma, and Llama has also already been playing in the space. So I want to talk about what hardware to choose when you're thinking of self-hosting your own AI infrastructure, what models to go for, or what options there are at least. Talk about how to think about running the deployment stack on the computer you choose to run this on. And I'm also going to share what my setup is so that could inspire what option you go with. So let's get into it. I think the first and perhaps most confusing part is deciding what hardware you need to get to run your AI inference. There are lots of various hardware providers, AMD, NVIDIA GPUs, very expensive, but of course you still have NVIDIA. Um, People don't consider Apple. Apple also plays in this space, and there are lots of really like niche providers that I'm not going to cover in this video. My recommendation here is that if you have the money for it, which I think it's actually better value than going with a desktop and NVIDIA GPUs, just buy a Mac Studio. Here is a Reddit post. This is a Reddit post comparing Apple chips from M1 to M5 and the Mac Ultras. This is the M1 Ultra, M2 Ultra, M3 Ultra. There is no M4 or M5 Ultra yet. You can see the performance of these guys, and they are actually really good for the money. And if you buy them used, you'll be getting like even better value. And you can get them up to what? This goes up to 512 gigs of RAM. This is the cheapest way by far to get 512 gigs of VRAM to run your model on, and the compute is also like very stellar. So for hardware, go for Mac. If you already have GPUs, NVIDIA GPUs or AMD GPUs, that's totally fine because you can run all of these new models on the GPUs. I think this is where things start getting interesting. The open source model space is trying to optimize for consumer GPUs. So if you have a GPU with 18 gigs of RAM, 24 gigs of RAM, you can actually get these models up and running. So when it comes to the conversation of what model to go for or to go with, you have Gemma 4, of course. It's the new one. And if you're thinking about running an AI inference service, you wouldn't be considering the 2 or 4B. You'll be thinking about the 26 or 31B option. So these are the ones to actually keep an eye on. Then Qwen 3.5 has actually been a very, very good model. In fact, like you can go read up this blog post on the performance, comparing it to Opus 4 and the other like frontier models. It's actually really good. So this is another great model to consider when deciding what to run. And if you go to this website, it's called an artificial analysis. It helps you figure out how these models compare like across the board. I just created a custom graph here showing how the Gemma 4 models compare with the Qwen 3.5 family, and this graph helps you um, get an idea of what to expect when you start using these models, especially when it comes to like general intelligence of the models. For me personally, I'm both running the Gemma 4 and the Qwen 3.5 models. I'm running the 120B of Qwen 3.5 and the 26B of Gemma 4. And yeah, they're actually quite nice. You can have a um, multi AI setup or multi LLM setup. And these guys are multimodal, in fact. So they not only understand text, they also understand images. And the Gemma 4 models also understand audio. So really great to get that running. To give you like a quick 0 to 60 of how to set this up, you may have heard of Olama. I would just recommend you skip that because while it's so easy to set up, like developer experience of using Olama is quite great. You actually pay a 30 to 40% performance penalty if you're using Olama, because Olama is a software that wraps on top of llama.cpp. So I'll just encourage you go use llama.cpp directly, so you get all of that performance on from your hardware. You get the most performance from your hardware. So I'm going to leave a link to Onslaught. This is they make really good quantizations. They try to shrink the models down a bit, so um, it can fit better on your GPU, and then you have enough space for like the KV cache, and everything works nicely. They make really nice quantizations, shrinking down the models, and they have a guide on running Gemma 4 as well as Qwen 3.5. So you could actually go read this guide and see how to run these models using llama.cpp, how to download them, how to run them using llama.cpp. I will be making my own blog post on this, which goes into the detail of how I have this set up. I have a diagram here to just like roughly explain it. So this is your client. This is open code or any other AI clients you would want to power. This could be like OpenClaw, this could be Open Web UI. The client talks to a gateway. This is Light LLM. I'm using Light LLM as a gateway so I can monitor my inference usage and also create API keys and manage the API keys that the client connects to. So each client has its own API key, and things are just good like that. Then Light LLM talks to the inference orchestrator, something I'll describe it that way. This is Llama Swap. Go check it out on GitHub. It's really good. Llama Swap then route the request to whatever like backend it needs to run on. If I specify the model needs to run on llama.cpp, it's route it to llama.cpp and that specific model. I can have multiple llama.cpp servers running different other models. I can also route it to a model that's being run on the MLX engine for Apple devices. So this is like an overview of what my stack looks like. I'm going to be writing a blog post and I'll leave it in the description below for you to go check out. I just wanted to share my thoughts on um, all of this. I think it's a really good time to like cancel your cloud AI subscriptions and actually just run the models locally on your computer or buy dedicated hardware for it, because I think these models are really good and we actually have gotten there. All right, so that's all for today's video. I wanted to show you how using these models are in feels like in open code. I can just open up open code real quick, and I have this is Gemma 4. This is the 32B. I can say hi for instance, and it's going to like respond. What's this about? And it's also going to like this is going to run inside of open code. I could also switch to a different model. Let's see, switch model. Okay, this one. I also have Qwen 3.5. Like I told you, this is the 122B. Say hi for instance. This might take a while because it's thinking, and it's what's this project about. And yeah, it's a really good coding model, the Qwen 3.5 series. They should be dropping Qwen 3.6 in the coming days or weeks, so stay tuned for that. And you can see it tells me that this is my blog built using Astro, and these models are great. So I highly encourage you to take a look at these models. Consider self-hosting on your laptop or buying a hardware for it, and save yourself the cost of cloud subscriptions. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you found this helpful. I will catch you in the next video. Don't forget to get subscribed, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.